All right, good afternoon everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. We're very happy to have Trish and Gary Albrecht with us here today. In Gary's former life, he was a top expert in pharmaceutical medical education. He's presented some of the highest rated thought leader positions in the world and explained super complex medical protocols. Gary then turned this education that he had, this teaching experience, into explaining complex ideas and activities to trading education. He refers to this as his true calling. Ever since then, he's never looked back. He's kind of hit the floor running. He's been a professional trader for the past 20 years. He's devoted his time and attention to educating students around the world for over a decade. He's conducted numerous live events with a platinum membership program, as well as offering private mentoring to his dedicated students. Gary's also the creator of a truly one-of-a-kind custom software, which he's going to be showing you today. He has the rare talent of translating his trading methodologies into cutting-edge trading software in order to complement any style trader in any financial market. He's absolutely passionate about providing his students with an unparalleled trading software and education. His primary goal is to make sure that everyone who uses his system and follows his suggested rules does not fail in trading, so he has your best interest at heart. With that being said, Trish, Gary's wife, I will pass it on to you, and you can go ahead and introduce yourself and what you all will be speaking about today.
Great. Thank you so much, Thomas. Much appreciated. Hello, everyone. So pleased you could join us and be with us today. We're thrilled to be presenting to you. So, since you are a new audience for us, I thought I would take a moment and give you a little insight into Gary and Trish Albrecht and GPA Trading Services. That was a photo of me, Tricia and Albrecht. I'm the co-founder of GPA Trading Services. And this is, in case you have not visited our website, we invite you to visit our website. This is GPA Trading Services. And for a little insight into Gary and Trish, photos, everyone loves to share photos. Photos have taken the world by storm. Everyone shares their photos these days. And so we thought we'd share a couple of vacation photos with you guys so you could get to know us a little bit better. We were fortunate enough to have some wonderful trips over the summer. We spent about a month on the gorgeous island of Maui, and they have the most spectacular sunsets. And so this is Gary and I with a beautiful Maui sunset in the backdrop. And one of my goals this summer was to take up paddleboarding. And so this is Gary and I paddleboarding at sunset in Maui. Fun, fun, fun. I don't know if many of you have taken it up, but it is a fun endeavor. I took to it right away. I was very proud of myself. And then this is Gary at the famous Heart Rock on Maui. We took and had an amazing hike. If you can see the terrain, we started way up at the top and we hiked all the way down because I was determined to get a photo of us with this fabulous heart rock that nature just formed. It's down by the blowhole. I'm sure you've probably heard of the blowhole in Maui. And so this is us at the heart rock, which I was so thrilled we were able to hike down and get a photo of that. And then we also took a cruise this summer. And another fun experience we had is we did a horse ride and swim in the Cayman Islands. And the horses, we were on bareback, and we actually went out on a swim on the horses out in the beautiful blue ocean. And so that was a very fun, cool experience. As you can see, we like to travel a lot, and we always are looking for fun experiences. And this was another must-do for me. One of my passions was to swim with dolphins. And so I was able to accomplish that this summer as well, and that was a thrill, absolute thrill. Memory I'll never forget. My mother was able to join us on this experience. She was celebrating her birthday, and so she was able to join us on that. So it's a wonderful memory that we have. And then, so those are our little photos. I hope you guys enjoyed those. That's just a little insight into the Albrecht family. And now, on to today's topic. Today's topic is anticipating future market conditions utilizing the MPA PE2 software. And before we begin the webinar, we always love to share mantras with our members. We have done this for many, many years. Our students thoroughly enjoy mantras. They submit mantras. I submit mantras each day in class. And so I thought this one was appropriate for today's webinar. So let me read this mantra to you. Learning is not attained by chance. It must be sought for with ardor and attended to with diligence. And we stand behind that firmly in trading in most every aspect of life. And now, on to an important disclaimer. As you all know, trading involves risk. Therefore, please do not trade with money you cannot afford to lose. Always practice proper money management and adhere to strict money management rules. The CFTC rule says hypothetical or simulated performance results have certain limitations. Unlike an actual performance record, simulated results do not represent actual trading. Also, since the trades have not been executed, the results may under or overcompensate for the impact, if any, of certain market factors such as lack of liquidity. Simulated trading programs in general are also subject to the fact that they are designed with the benefit of hindsight. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those shown. And all information provided by GPA Trading Services today is for your educational purposes. Your typical standard disclaimer, but we must present those. Now, I will go ahead and turn it over to Gary, and he will walk you through the presentation, and then I will come back on at the end, and we will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. So, as we like to say, sit back, fasten your seatbelt, and please enjoy what we have to show you today. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, my name is Gary R. Albrecht, founder and CEO of GPA Trading Services. I'm also the educator instructor of the software I created called the Market Price Anticipator Premium Edition 2 software. Some key components when you're anticipating future market conditions will consist of support and resistance. It's imperative you know support and resistance before trading. Any type of trading, support and resistance is critical. The trend direction, that's also a very important parameter. We will talk in depth on utilizing multiple time frames. You want the key to understanding and getting in high probability trades with lower risk. That's when you utilize multiple time frames. And then, of course, understanding how the lower time frames cycle within the larger time frames. Now, let's go to the charts to demonstrate how these components are used to anticipate future market conditions. We'll start off with the Dow. Everybody loves to talk about the Dow. Its latest surge higher and higher and higher and higher as the Dow's been climbing has been represented as far as this software defies common logic. That's because most people will say indicators, oscillating indicators, will not work in trending markets. They work fine in consolidating markets, but in trending markets they do not. Well, this software includes a trend direction called the trend momentum, the momentum of the trend per time frame. It also includes a price action indicator, which includes several components. Now notice as the time frames all aligned, we have a trigger triggering green for a long position. But as this ended up moving in towards overbought conditions, it tried to what we call a phenomenon in this software called slingshot. It tried to slingshot lower and failed. Then it proceeded to top and roll and slingshot higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. What you're going to find about how you anticipate future market conditions is that you will direct your attention to the direction of the trend. And as my daily's moving higher, I can look at a chart and look at representation as the daily tries to slingshot lower and fails, moves higher, then slingshots higher, comes down again, slingshots higher. Those of you, you will learn what a slingshot is. It's based on this indicator, and it's illustrated by the separation of these lines that make it look like a slingshot, if you will. And it catapults price in the direction of the slingshot. Well, notice how your oscillator does get up and down slightly, but it never returns to oversold. It continues to slingshot higher and higher and higher. We can anticipate this behavior because during that time frame on my dailies, between this area where the daily bottomed and the area where the daily starts to top, the slingshot higher and higher, during that whole area, we notice our weekly is continuing to push higher, and it's also slingshotting higher and higher. Going back, way back when the Dow went down to 6,000 range and started to climb higher. Notice on the weekly, the same principle. It was in oversold conditions, got a trigger to go long, trigger to go short over here, trigger to go long. And during this phase, it tried the slingshot lower first and failed. Then it proceeded to go into overbought conditions to slingshot higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, on and on and on. Well, we simply take into consideration the direction of the trend, and we call this similar to looking left and right. I must be aware of my surroundings when I trade. If I'm going to trade a daily time frame, it's important that as I'm trading that daily, I understand what direction that weekly trend is in. Is it in the same direction, or is it in a different direction? So I want to call your attention, and we actually have three components we're going to talk about. The software is one, our live trading classes is component number 2, and then our trade alerts that we send out is component number 3. That makes up the Master Trader program. Notice while my daily started to bottom, in class we were telling everyone to go short while the Dow retraced. And I'm going to show you on this chart, which is the trade alert. We talked about this moving lower because my weekly started to turn toward the downside. My daily was turning toward the downside. And I gave a target multiple weeks out that price would go down towards, but should not go any lower than 16,188. And notice that price went down to a low of 16,209. During this phase, while we were shorting the Dow, I made reference that the weekly would go and engage higher, which would ultimately cause the Dow to turn and make a new high. While we were over here moving lower, I gave a target to go to, and then I anticipated that it was going to move higher based on that weekly engaging. So the students are really amazed at the software because it anticipates this in advance. How could we have anticipated that? As we go to the software, the weekly did exactly what we said it was going to do weeks out. It was depressurizing, moving lower, while the Dow did go down several hundred points. But it didn't invalidate our do not cross level, and it proceeded to engage higher in a slingshot as we said it would weeks in advance. And sure enough, this anticipated move, you can go back in our archives where I was telling this live in class, saying, look, when the weekly engages, it's going to produce about 1,000-point move. We're going to see a new higher high. And that's exactly what we saw the last several days and the last couple of weeks as the Dow has been slingshotting higher on this weekly. Well, we go beyond just giving buy and sell recommendations in our trade alert. We paint the picture of the multiple time frame. What should the software exhibit during those time frames as they cycle? Not only did we paint the picture of the weekly coming down and engaging, but once it did engage, we gave you the lower level to watch for support, and we gave you the upper level for targets. So for now, the Dow is in the process of depressurizing, and the latest trade alert went on to say, watch for the foreman and workforce. Well, what does that mean? We have terminology we use as the 4-hour is the foreman. The 4-hour is the gatekeeper between the lower time frames and the higher. So as I'm watching this, I expect that we're going to see this depressurize. The previous alert said look for the Dow to take a sideways direction before then slingshotting to a new high, as we then saw that today. So we went on to tell you and paint that picture. Look for the Dow to either in a 4-hour/daily form and engage in a slingshot to the upside. We want to keep an eye on that weekly. If the weekly maintains its posture higher, then the daily will continue to slingshot higher and higher and higher while the weekly's pointing up. As we can see this behavior here, when my weekly's pointing up, my daily slingshots higher and higher and higher. So how does that help me as a trader? You can absolutely anticipate in advance as the time frames cycle. You'll hear a lot about that, time frame cycling. So how does that help me with multiple time frames? This software is automatically calculating when the software moves from buy and sells but it takes into consideration the different time frames cycling as well. So you'll get triggers to sell, triggers to buy, and then you'll get different types of triggers. When multiple time frames are aligned, you get a different type of trigger than when it's one time frame aligning. And then when the slingshot formations start to form and engage, you can actually see it on the chart to enter it. Well, I have something that's really going to blow your mind. That when you understand the process of cycling time frames, which you will from live instruction, because I paint the picture exactly what the markets are going to do based on the software, painting the Picasso of the software, how and when it's going to form and engage. Well, we have another opportunity to buy this daily slingshot higher. The great news is it takes a few days to form, but once it engages, it takes several days to play out, right? Every time it takes a few days to form, then it takes days to play out. So we can bank on that behavior. And if that's not enough for you, we have a trade management system that has all of our built-in rules and regulations, trading plan, all rules of engagement is automatically built into our trading system. So if we're not at the computer and you say, well, Gary, I know I should be buying the next daily slingshot. I just don't know if it's going to engage today or tomorrow or early next week. Well, you can set the trade management system in auto and tell it, hey, whenever this daily slingshot engages, I want you to buy the Dow. And that resulted in numerous trades so that if you're not at the market and you're able to see it while it's happening, you can have an automated system do it for you. How cool is that? Well, let's continue. It's not just with the Dow, it's with stocks, commodities, futures, any symbol that the software runs on, you can have the same anticipated results. Let's go to the euro and show you what this automated trading system looks like. Right now, you'll notice on a 4-hour time frame, the euro dollar is headed higher. It's been grinding higher since a strong down move, but it's been grinding higher today in this 4-hour time frame. Notice the trend, ladies and gentlemen, it's pointing straight up, pointing straight up. So if I was to use this trade management system, all I need to do, I'm going to change time frames for you and go back. So it starts in a click and drag to trade. I double click, simply drag this over. As soon as I get tick data, as soon as it changes price, you'll see this go ready to trade. Once it's ready to trade, I can then either buy or sell instantly with the system. Well, let's just say I want to sell this, right? No, I want to sell the euro. But my trend momentum is saying it's going higher. My price action's still pointing up, and it's not engaging in a slingshot. So as I tell the system to go ahead and sell, guess what it's going to do? Within the MetaTrader system, it gives you a box, which we call the control panel. And it's an alert box. So as soon as we get tick data, notice it clicked back and it says, cannot trade short on a 4-hour chart without the 4-hour being red, talking about the trend momentum headed down, or my slingshot engaging. Let me show you that again. So this system, talking about built-in rules, as I try to sell, make a bonehead mistake. Well, I meant to buy when I actually sold, and I meant to sell when I bought, and I made a mistake. Well, this system won't allow you to make that mistake. I'm trying to sell again, and it's going to refuse it, and it's going to say right up here, you cannot go short on a 4-hour chart without a red trend momentum, meaning moving lower, or the 4-hour slingshot engaging. And we have neither one of those. So this system is very unique, unlike anything you've ever seen. So not only is it unique, but as you use the trade management system, it will teach you how to trade. It will force you to stay in the guidelines of multiple time frame and only trade in the direction of that trend. How cool is that? Well, let's move on. Well, the euro is projected, obviously in a strong downtrend. We bring in all parameters of trading. We talk about Elliott wave, we talk about Fibonacci retracements, we talk about price patterns, we talk about several components that add to, but what's unique about our service is we tie it into the software. So as we start to stair step in moving price, the euro is expected to give us a deeper retracement sooner than later. Well, we've been in a strong downtrend. How do I know it's going to actually retrace? Well, first off, we're going to start to see multiple time frames bottoming and reversing. We have a 4-hour bottoming and reversing. We have a daily bottoming and reversing. and we have a weekly in grossly oversold conditions. So the euro is projected to start to stair-step its way higher. But notice, before a weekly truly starts to bottom in reverse, you see technical signs and symptoms of a reversal. Notice this blue line here at the chart. We're going to see the daily start to move with the weekly and then try to slingshot lower, fail, then continue higher. Then as this ultimately starts, why did the weekly then turn over and slingshot to another higher high? Because during this side of the equation, my monthly is headed higher. During this side of the equation, my monthly is headed lower. I can tell that behavior in advance based on the cycles of time frames. Based on the cycles of time frames. So is everyone comfortable so far? We're simply using the direction of the trend, and we look for two things. Triggers, green for buy, red triggers for short, and we look for this phenomenon called slingshots. So with the phenomenon of slingshots, they take time to form, time to engage, and time to play out, especially as you look at the higher time frame. Well, what I mean by anticipating in advance, watch as I go to the daily and look at this line. I will change this to purple or magenta just so you can see that at this moment in time, my weekly was bottoming, but we don't know if it's ready to start retracing. The weekly was bottoming over here, but yet the euro kept going lower. We look for price pattern reversals, a low, a high, a higher low. We look for a price pattern reversal and a failed slingshot. So notice as I scroll back on my daily, we're going to see that exact behavior as I come across my purple line. What did my daily do? It depressurized, it moved higher, it then tried to slingshot lower and failed. It's supposed to. I anticipate this in advance that this slingshot lower is going to fail. So when it does, I buy and go long. Then I look for my opportunity to buy the slingshot higher as it then slingshots and continues to slingshot. 5-minute euro dollar, it doesn't matter whether you're a day trader, position trader, it doesn't matter your type of trading. The same symptoms of slingshots failing or succeeding is based on the same principle. If my 5-minute here is in the process of topping and rolling and then going down, how do I know the 5 minutes going to depressurize the slingshot lower, depressurize the slingshot lower during that phase? How would I know this in advance? Hard right edge and know that in advance, because clearly when I see a 5-minute exhibit this behavior, my higher time frames are headed lower. Watch the 15. My higher time frames are headed lower. Watch the 30. My higher time frames are headed lower. See how easy that is? I don't care what time frame. This system works consistently, the same signs and symptoms we talk about. It's like a physician. A physician sees a patient and he presents with certain types of symptoms. Nausea, sweating, sore throat, fever, and based on those signs and symptoms, he's able to diagnose. Well, this software is the same. And what the end point is we're going to have such a brief time today to review all components that I don't have time to go in depth. But we spend hours in our live trade classes, on average about 8 to 10 hours per week in live trading conditions, showing you exactly what the software is supposed to do. So with the software, part of the components are, as we will mention in a moment, the trigger system. You get triggers to buy and go long. You get triggers to sell and go short. Along that system, you also have a slingshot trade management, which is included. It includes the templates. So when I want to add the trade management system, I just use a template and add it. So again, remember what we showed you here? If I want to sell the euro dollar, all I do is click and drag to trade, to set it. I do this by design. I want you to force you as a student, as a user, to force the system to arm. And once it's armed, then I can either buy or sell. Well, within this, I have parameters. Again, if I tell it to buy, because I'm pointing higher at the moment, I need to pay attention to my surroundings. If I'm going to try to buy when a 30 minutes getting toward oversold, it depends where my 1 hour is. If my 1 hour's down here, still having a long way to go, then that's fine. But if my 1 hour's up here already pointing down when my 30's pointing up, then I don't want to buy that I want to wait and allow the 15, or in this case the 30, to continue higher to give me a trigger to go short with the higher time frame. So what you'll learn in our class and with the software, you must look left and right. Well, this trigger system will tell you, based on the type of trigger, what time frames are aligned prior to selling or buying them. It will tell you automatically, is it this time frame alone in agreement, or do we have multiple time frames? This is what we call our trade management system. I will go ahead and buy right now just to show you an example that before it said it couldn't go short because the trend momentum was headed up. Now it'll allow it to go long once it ticks, and it'll pop in just a second. You heard the noise. There's the pop. And it's moving forward, and we have a stop loss in place. We have take profit 1 and 2 and 3, which appear on your chart. It's interactive, so I can click on it and move it higher or lower based on market conditions. When you're long, the text is green. When you're short, the text is red. And if I want to take profits, I can click my take profit. It'll take it. I can set predestined direction for it to go 100 pips, 200 pips, 1,000 pips, to allow long running trades to continue to run. I can set multiple parameters to tell this when and what to do. So if I just leave this, it's either going to stop me out for a very predestined loss, or it's going to reach my take profit. Once it does, it moves automatically into profit, so my winning trade can no longer turn into a losing trade. All this is done for you automatically. Now let's get more to the other components. Well, it's nice to know that I have software with built-in components telling me what type of triggers, when should I buy and sell, and we have scanners that monitors the market full time. 100% customizable. I can set which currency pairs, stocks, commodities, futures, whatever symbol I want to watch and put on my alert list. I can instantly see at a quick overview what direction each time frame trend is on. Is the trend going higher, going lower? What slingshots are on the horizon, forming or engaging? When they're forming, they're light. When they're engaging, they go to a bolded color like this. And then the trigger system. When do we get a trigger short? When do we get a trigger long? And it ultimately follows suit to tell you what direction the trend is following and when the triggers are firing, etc. All at an overview glance. Then we have an ADR on here based on the stock, commodity, future, whatever. It gives you a price range for the average daily range. And it tells you what percentage that has moved during the day of that daily range. Well, if that's not enough, we have another system called what we term dearly the Slice of Heaven Finder 2. The Slice of Heaven Finder 2, as I mentioned, the trigger system and the slingshots. This will automatically seek out any symbol in the case of a market watch. Well, the market watch has over 800 symbols in which to trade. Stocks from the U.S., numerous stocks, European stocks, around the world, Russia, you name it. There's over 800 plus symbols. So any one of those, as it finds a potential trade setup, it automatically gives you a setup for it. And then you'll learn how the cycling time frames mean. Once I find a setting, I know what to look for. This tells me my euro pound is moving to the short side, and during this moving short, my hour's moving lower in the short side, and it's starting to form a slingshot up. My 30 minutes also forming a slingshot, moving lower but forming a slingshot up. How can I use that to my advantage? Well, when I go to the euro pound chart, I can look for the 4 hour to move down, and while my lower time frames try to slingshot up and fail, then I can sell and go short with the higher time frame. These, what we call Slice of Heaven. This is 100% customizable. When I go into the Expert Advisor, depending on my trading style, I can have this as a 4 hour, 1 hour 30. I can make this a 15, a 5, a 1. I can make this a monthly, a weekly, a daily. And I simply just go into the parameters and change it. Whatever, if I want a monthly set here, I change it to monthly. I want a weekly, a daily, a 4 hour, and it automatically populates with the two lower time frames. And the beauty of our software is it's completely customizable. So let's give you something you can sink your teeth into, right? We got two different types of scanners, and when I learn what this means, that means I have more trading opportunities than I could possibly ever want. And remember this, cycling time frames equals trading opportunities. So we showed you on several charts, as the time frames cycle, they produce very specific behavior, right? My daily is projected to slingshot higher while it's moving lower. It's projected to move higher because that weekly is still pointing up. Once the weekly turns and hooks out, then the daily is going to give us a different perspective. It'll try to slingshot higher and fail, then we sell the failure. Then when the weekly engages, we buy that. As I told our student base, that during this down phase, while we had days and days and days of our trade alert, we said look for price to go lower towards this target, no lower, and ultimately get picked up by a weekly slingshot. When you hear this and price is way up here and go, well, that's armchair quarterback. No, this is before price is even formed. I paint the picture of what the software is going to do, and then I give you targets both on the downside and the upside. So watch in the coming days. I don't think this wave 3 is done. The Dow should make another higher high. Then we're going to look when that weekly turns over. We're going to watch for the Dow to do a similar retracement. Over here, we should see another similar retracement. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for the weekly to turn out, come back and re-engage, and then push price higher. Ultimately, I have a far out target around 18,000 before we're done. Well, we still have ways to go, and we have the software showing, exhibiting the behavior. So what do you mean when the weekly turns and hooks out? When it turns and hooks out, this is where we were a few weeks back. When it turned and hooked out, I said, ladies and gentlemen, be prepared for the Dow to give us several days of downside pressure while that weekly has the opportunity to depressurize, form, and engage in a slingshot to a new higher high. That, my friends, is over 900 plus points, just under 1,000. So when I have that kind of capability in advance, I can arrange my option trading strategy, whether I'm trading options, commodities. It doesn't matter how I trade this move, I can certainly take advantage of knowing I should see that in advance. Well, not only as it starts to unfold, but while you're in it. Notice our 4-hour from the daily, while our weekly started to engage, my daily was doing what? It was going from oversold conditions toward overbought. And watch this parameter. As my daily was moving higher, watch the 4-hour between these two lines. The 4-hour is going to exhibit very specific behavior between the time my daily starts its move higher and it ultimately starts to top as we see now. Watch the 4-hour. It's a thing of beauty. The 4-hour started in oversold conditions with the trigger. As I move this lower, there's your trigger. And it ultimately did what? It topped, slingshotted higher, slingshotted higher, slingshotted higher, slingshotted higher, and yet again. So not only does the software peg it in advance, but we anticipate this with you in live trading market conditions and paint the picture. Hey, your next job is to buy that 4-hour slingshot. As we see here, the 4-hour did engage and went up and made a new high, and now it's turning back over. But my daily has not engaged. So the next opportunity, as we call line of progression, is to buy the Dow when the daily engages back up. It takes a day or two or early next week, the software will peg it. Well, again, as I mentioned with the trade management system, if I'm not at my computer, I've been waiting day after day after day, I'm waiting for that slingshot so I can buy, you can tell the trade management system, hey, buy that daily slingshot to the upside. Whether it does it whatever time, next week, early, Friday, whatever, it will enter it based on that criteria I enter into the trade management system. Well, there's a new component. Again, we're flying through this, I know, because we have so much to cover in such a short period. We have this new scalping tool. As you can see, this is entering. So if I want to just close this, that's the trade management, I can simply click and drag to close. And as soon as it ticks, it'll close that trade. Whether I'm at a loss or a gain, this is for demonstration purposes, but it shows you the integration and on-screen programming. So as soon as it then ticks, you'll see this disappear, and this will disappear up here. How many pips to your take profit, how many pips to your stop loss, etc. Well, we have a new component. as I will show you now, it's called a scalper's delight. This is called the Platinum Asia. It's to be used during the Asia session. Notice how even on the odd yen, as we're getting near the close of the US going in toward Asia, this system starts to peg critical pivot points. And notice what we see here. We're seeing the lower time frame start to turn up, and there's my buy line moving higher, and I look to stay in it till I reach my sell line. And the only criteria I'm interested in is to confirm that when I buy a buy line, my time frames 15, 30 minutes are in agreement with that move. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? What if when I see my 15 and my 30 saying, yeah, starting to slingshot higher on a 30, my 15 is bottoming, moving higher, so I buy here and price reaches my take profit level and I'm ready to close it. Well, what if when I notice this, my 1 hour in this case is in overbought conditions? If my 1 hour was down here, I'd let that trade continue to run further. But because the 1 hour is up top, you're going to take aggressive profits. And once my 15 and 30 cycle back to overbought conditions, short when this slingshot higher fails. Why am I even saying that in advance? How can I remember that? The system knows it automatically, but because my higher time frame, my 4 hours overbought and it's turning out. So we're expecting when a 4 hours in overbought conditions turning out, my 1 hour will in fact slingshot up and fail. What does that look like? The 1 hour start to turn up, then it turns over and hooks back down. So right now you see it turning up, and I expect this up move to give me a high, a low, a lower high, price pattern reversal. When this 1 hour turns out, I can sell more than likely when price reaches my sell line, close the long trade, go back short, and sell down. Well, should I close the short trade when it hits the buy line again? You can play that pinball, or like I'm mentioning, my 4 hours in a position to go much lower for hours to come. My 1 hour is in a position once that slingshot up fails to continue much lower for hours. So when I sell up here, I'm going to stay in and let it continue to run. Watch the odd yen. We expect a little more upside, then it's going to reverse and go back down, and we expect much further downside based on a 4 hour being overbought, based on a daily being in overbought conditions, and it's starting to turn out. Yes, we got a strong move the last couple of days, but the bias is to start to look for a price pattern reversal, a high, a low, a lower high, aka a failed slingshot, same thing as a price pattern reversal. Then you look for the time frames to take over and move in the direction of the higher trend. So those of you that are scalpers, I can use this same knowledge that I showed you a moment ago on a 5 minute. The 5 minute slingshot up failed, then slingshotted lower and lower because my 15 was headed lower. My 30 was headed lower. My 1 hour was headed lower. How cool is that? Well, that's just the beginning. We also have a trade management system with pending orders. Can I ask a quick question? How many of you have used pending orders in trading? How many in the audience have ever used a pending order in trading? Please type in yes or no. Give us some acknowledgement if you've used pending orders. Many people have. Well, the beauty of this pending order, which we have two, we have the instant order and we have a pending order trade management system. The pending order trade management system is very similar to the instant order, but it adds a huge bonus. You know how you have a strong resistance level, and you know, hey, when price reaches that resistance level, man, this currency pair, this stock, this commodity, this equity always seems to turn around at a certain level. So it's pretty wise, as we were doing, here in class. We reach this level, bounce off, reach the level, bounce off, reach the level, bounce off, bounce, 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 bounce. Well, the good news is with pending orders, yes, you can set it, and if it reaches that price, you can tell it to enter a short trade. Well, our system will take into consideration, what if it doesn't reach your number exactly, it misses it by 1 pip, 2 pips, or if it's stock prices, it misses it by 10 cents. And doesn't hit that actual price, then reverses down several dollars. Oh man, if only my pending order, if I'd have set it 2 pips lower, or 10 cents lower on that stock, man, I'd have done nicely. It went down like I expected it to. Well, this system will take into consideration the triggers firing and or slingshots engaging, so that if I have a pending order set up here and price goes right to it but misses it because of a trigger lower or because of a slingshot lower, it's going to enter it anyway. Now put that in your mindset. That means even if I miss it by a pip or two, then normal pending orders, you must hit that level exactly. If you miss it by a shy amount, doesn't matter if it's just 1 penny or 1 pip in the forex market, it will not enter the short trade. But this system, based on the triggers and slingshots, you can tell the pending order, hey, if it reaches my pending order number, enter short. Hey, if it comes close and triggers lower, enter short. Hey, if it comes close and slingshots lower, then enter it as well. So you can tell that system to enter it any way, anyhow, any day, you enter it. And it's simply based on the entry criteria that you enter into the system. So when I go to my expert advisor and I go to properties, I can tell it exactly how many pips, lots to trade, how far to put my stop loss, take profit. Then I can tell it down here whether to take a slingshot long, a trigger long, slingshot short, trigger short. What type of trigger do I want it to take? Position, scalper, optimized. And then whether or not to take 4-hour slingshots, yes or no. So all that is completely customizable. So when you hear Gary say, based on the cycles of time frames, like this odd yen, as we were watching a moment ago, when we look at the odd yen and we say, yeah, we realize that even though the lower time frames right now are moving higher and we're moving up a little bit, we expect this to ultimately give me a high, a low, and a lower high. Why? Because my 1 hour is in overbought conditions. My 4 hour is in overbought conditions. My daily is in overbought conditions. So I'm going to turn it back over to my wife and let her walk you through the exact offer we have for everyone in attendance today. And before I do, I'm going to briefly show you some successful trades. Here's one on Google. Google, we move down, if you can tell by the pips up here, 66,325 pips. That's a $63 move on Google. Simply setting the pip trapper. Euro yen currency pair, 183 pips, short based on a trigger. There we were running, stair-stepping lower. Here's one, 283 pips, euro pound. Short trade because of the yellow color, entered based on a trigger system, and here the slingshot lower got us into that trade.
Takes a picture of all your trades, the screen capture of all your trades,
And
so you can go back and review them.
And my wife, as she mentioned, I don't know if you heard that, when you place the trade, it takes a screenshot of your chart for your trading journal, and it's automatically saved for you so you can go back and review. Here's another one. Here, we're up over 440 pips on the pound dollar. We let it run to the downside. Even during the correction, we continue down in this sales up here because of a top and reversal trigger lower. Over and over, 608 pips. Aussie dollar to the upside for a correction. 922 pips. Guys, do the math. If you're a forex trader and 1 pip with a standard lot is worth $10 in that range, $7 to $10 depending on the currency pair, you're talking substantial. 922, 1 standard lot, that's several thousands of dollars, about $7,000, $8,000 trade on 1 standard lot. Continue. Here's one on gold. We peg gold up, down, sideways, in and out. Oil, up, down, sideways, in and out. Here's one that's over 6,900 pips. What is that? A $69 move to the upside. Here's gold to the downside, $54.79, over a $54 move. Any traders of gold out there? You can make a fortune on a couple of contracts on a $5 move on gold, much less a $50, $60, $70 move. And this system pegs it based on the time frames, cycling, slingshots, engaging, scaling back in, etc. Over and over and over. Here's one on the Euro Aussie, 1,142 pips. We peg that as it slingshotted higher and higher and higher and higher and higher, letting that trade run. We totaled this one trade in class between take profit 1, 2, and 3 over 3,000 pips. Take profit 1 to get to break even, then you let it breathe easy plus 1 and let it run. We took profits over, as you can see here, we still had 2 lots running over 1,000, 1,100 plus pips. We took profit 2 at 1,500 and went on to march up to 2,000 range. So we made over 3,500 plus pips on this one trade. Student uses TradeStation. We have TradeStation. He used it. He placed the orders based on our signals. He put it in TradeStation, his account. He tallied 8,600 pips between all of these currency pairs. He went on to let it run based on the cycling of the higher time frame, and that turned into 18,311 pips. So do we have software that runs in TradeStation? No. We let it run in MetaTrader and place corresponding trades in any platform. Think of Swim, any platform you're trading, options, commodities, futures. You let the signal come and you let it run in that platform. Well, he went on to tell you here, he let this run to 18,311 pips. One lot, that's a $180,000 move on one standard lot. And here's the proof. There's the same platform showing tallying that 18,000. As we tally up all of these trades, you can see they're running into the thousands of pips, 2,000. And as you tally all those up, 18,311 pips. Let's continue. Multiple trades tallying 29,000. Winning trade after winning trade. Do we get losing trades? Of course you do. But you're in control. When I take the time to allow multiple time frames to align, the likelihood of getting many losing trades is rare. So the more I see and allow time frames to align, the greater my potential for successful trades. This went on multiple trades, as you can see, including gold, many currency pairs, went on to 39,000. Here's some more. Here's including oil. Here over 10,000 on oil alone, 54,000. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my wife now. And one last thing is this option traders. Option traders, some believe you don't need software or indicators to trade options. Here's what our student does with our software. He exited a short position a little early, but still made 1,200. Then he re-entered later that day because of the time frame cycles and made an additional 300, both using options. If I had done this on my own, I would have bailed on it a long time ago for a loss. Now I'm looking at making a profit. If black gold, talking about oil, comes through, I will have my subscription paid very quickly. Well, this individual started with a trial, and he ultimately, in a couple of trades, paid for an annual subscription, went on to pay for our private mentoring, all from a few trades. Thanks for your hard work in developing the system. As price proves intention, if my ability to use the systems keeps improving, I'm dropping my financial advisor and several newsletters. I applied for a forex account to be added to my thinkorswim accounts. Once I gain more time, can't wait to see GPA and his broker to assist in his Australian and Switzerland accounts. That's powerful. Now, as we review, what is the Master Trader Program? It includes the software that we briefly covered. It includes live trading classes. We average about 8 to 10 hours per week of live trading classes.
Love to be in classes.
Love to be in classes. My students, we took them through a boot camp that lasted 6 hours.
And they love every minute.
And they love every minute of it. And of course, these trade alerts. Well, what exactly is included with the software? The market scanner, the Slice of Heaven Finder 2, those slingshots, trade triggers that we talk about, the triggers long and short, and our slingshots. It includes the trade management system, both the instant order and pending order. And again, what's unique about the trade management system is I can instantly trade with it while I'm in front of the charts, or I can set it to auto mode to let it buy or sell based on my entry criteria. And of course, we spent very little time on the scalping tool, but you'll be shocked how often price ranges during Asia. Many people say, well, I work during the day, I can't be in class, so I'd love to be able to trade the Asia session. This scalping system will bring you new delight because it gives you exact entries and exits based on rules of engagement and, of course, those buy and sell levels. And now I'll turn over my wife as we go through why you should use the MPAP2 software when you trade and exactly what our offer is.
Great. Thank you, Gary. and we will get to your questions as soon as we go through this, but we always love the top 10. So top 10 lists are great and fun, and so we decided we'd do a top 10 list as well. So here are the top 10 reasons to trade with the MPA PE2 software. Number 1, calculates support and resistance levels. Number 2, identifies the trend of each time frame. Number 3, monitors and tracks time frame cycles. Number 4, provides consistent entries, exits, take profit levels based on trade triggers, slingshots, and profit triggers. Number 5, our wonderful and outstanding trade management system allows you to set in advance and customize each entry criteria. Also, the trade management system automatically manages your trades from entry to exit. We had high demand for this trade management system, so we put a tremendous amount of time, effort, and resources into bringing this to our students. Our students love to trade with our software, but they also wanted an automated system, so we heeded their call and we put together this wonderful trade management system for you to use at your leisure and your convenience. Also, number 7, fits any trading style. Number 8, we have the wonderful dual scanners, which Gary briefly discussed. Also works on over 800 plus symbols, including stocks, forex, futures, ETFs, commodities, etc. And drum roll, please. Number 10, consistently delivers low risk, high reward, high probability trades. Now, for those of you that are in attendance and that are interested in joining us, Gary and I have a lot of fun. We enjoy tremendously being in class with our students. We love to be in class. We have a great time with our students. We have a wonderful group from all over the world. And so we are in the market with them on a regular basis, and we put together this what we call a Master Trader program, which incorporates the software, the classes, and the trade alerts. It's a complete program, so it covers everything you need to be a trader. The software, we don't just give you software and then say good luck. We don't believe in that. We are education based. We put education above and beyond all other. That is our foremost. And then we have the software to complement the education. So we have the software, the classes, and the alerts. And we are offering a trial program for those of you that would like to join us. For the first month, it is $47 for you to have access to the complete Master Trader program. And that is, as I stated, the software, the classes, and the alerts. And then following the first month, the complete program is $3.99 a month, and that is a wonderful deal because you get classes, alerts, and the software for one low price. Many, as you well know, those of you that have been around the trading world for a while, you could pay $3.99 a month for classes alone, alerts alone, or software alone. But to receive all of this is a huge, tremendous bargain, and these are our discounted rates for this program. So we have a link. Here is the link, and I think Thomas is also going to post the link in the chat box for those of you that are interested. As I said, we have a wonderful group from around the world. We actually have a slide showing our world map, and we have students from all over the world that we enjoy being with tremendously. There's our world map. If you visit our website, you can see our world map. We've collected flags from all over the world representing our students. So we have a great student base. And if you join us, I think you will enjoy being with them and us as well. So if there's any questions, we'd be happy to answer those. Let me see. What time are the classes? Because you're based in Australia. That's fine, Robert. We actually have students from Australia. We love our students from Australia. We have numerous students from Australia. Our classes are held in the morning. That is 8 a.m. Central, 9 Eastern. However, if those times are not convenient for you, we record each and every class, and they are promptly posted right after class so you can review all classes at your convenience. We have over 50% of our subscribers are unable to attend our live classes, So they follow along with us via the archives, and we have a mountain of wonderful material for you to review. You can review it at any time. It's always available 24/7. So yes, there's no problem if you can't attend live, because as I said, the majority of our students cannot attend live, so they use all the wonderful resources. We have educational modules, we have class archives, we have how-to videos, we have a plethora of information and valuable information. So everything for you is covered there. Does the software work only on MetaTrader? Yes, it is on MetaTrader, but as we said, you can trade in any platform, as we showed one of our students that uses TradeStation, and our options traders use Thinkorswim, so you can place the trade in any broker platform you use. The signals are generated through MetaTrader.
And it's free data feed.
Do you cover stocks? Yes. As we showed Google in one of our slides, yes, we cover stocks. Our students can request us, whatever they would like us to cover, and as long as we have the data, it's listed within our platform, we will be happy to cover that. So yes, we take requests and we cover whatever our students are interested in. MetaTrader is free. So you just would go and download their platform. It's free, so you just would download the MetaTrader platform. Once you download the MetaTrader platform, then you download our software and you're good to go. There's no fees for that.
And all that's located on
And all the downloads that you would require are located within the members area. To download MetaTrader, to download the software, all of that's covered for you in the members area. How much does it cost to get MetaTrader? As I said, yeah, MetaTrader is free. The software, no, we don't. It doesn't really work on Macs. We've had students that have used it, but there's some manipulation that you need to do. If you have a new Mac with the dual operating systems, yes. But we recommend Windows 7. That's what we recommend, Windows 7.
But we do have several Mac users.
But we do have Mac users if you are able to use the dual operating systems.
Parallel operating systems.
Okay? Yes, we meet 3 days a week. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays are our classes. That's when we do our trade room.
And Tuesday's market forecast.
And Tuesdays we do a very in-depth market forecast, and we cover the markets from top to bottom. So yes, we have, as I said, we have a lot of fun in our classes, and we cover whatever the students want to cover. Gary spends a great amount of time covering the market. Students will wear out before we do. Gary and I are a lot of fun. I mean, we're very engaging, and we're not one of those that watches the clock tightly, and when the clock reaches the hour, we're out. No, we do 2 hours and beyond in our classes because we really enjoy it. And so we're kind of a rare breed. We actually enjoy being with our students. We don't look at it as a chore or a heavy burden. We thrive on it. So if you join us, I think you'll be highly impressed. We've had students that have been with us for many, many, many years. We've done live events. We know them and their families, and we have a great rapport with our students, and we have a lot of fun with them. And they're
students have been with us for 6, 7 years.
Yeah, we have students that have been with us for many moons, and we feel like they're family. We call them our family of traders. So, yeah, I think if you join us, you will be impressed.
Elliott Wave is done manually.
Elliott Wave is done manually. That's all generated by Gary, and then he will go over that with the students, and he also covers it in our trade alerts.
And it's also based on the software.
So the terminology used, yeah, we cover all of that. We cover all the terminology, and it's listed in our educational material as well. But yes, you'll learn the terminology. It's easy to use and pick up, and Gary goes over it over and over and over in class. So that's not a problem. You'll pick it up. Robert, how much training would be required before starting to use the software? You can start in a demo account and you can start trading right away. We just say, come to class, and you will, and if you can come to class, otherwise study in the archives, and you will, I think you'll do well. I think you'll pick it up pretty easily because Gary's a very in-depth teacher. You always welcome to ask questions. We welcome questions, and we're always happy to take the time and cover things over and over if necessary.
And just to reiterate what Trish said, when we do our market forecast on Tuesdays, as I was showing you the charts a moment ago, when we're talking about a daily slingshot, it may take a couple of days. So when we give a trade alert out, it could be a trade alert that may take a couple of days to form. Well, during live classes, we give you things that are ready right now. We give you things that may be ready in 12 to 24 hours. We put things out there based on the cycles of time frames, may take a couple of days and even a few weeks. And as many of our students have found, that listening to the GMF market forecast, they're able to place trades even weeks out. We anticipate the market conditions for where's the market going today, as well as the rest of this week and beyond. And that's simply by anticipating all of these moves based on support and resistance, based on the cycles of time frames. And you'll hear that over and over and over. But I promise you, whether you use this software or any other software, if you're not paying attention to the left and right of your equation, where if I'm placing trades on one time frame and I'm unaware what the lower time frames are doing, then you get that feeling whenever I place a trade long, the market goes against me. Or whenever I place a trade short, the market always goes to the upside. Well, that's based on the lower time frame. Then if I'm not aware of my higher time frames, then I really can't judge and gauge how long I should let a trade run. And that's where traders struggle. Once I'm in a trade, great. What do I do now? Well, this system automatically gives you profit triggers. They fire. It can automatically take your profits for you, or it can fire on your chart and you can manually do it. But it does it based on support and resistance, and it does it based on the cycles of those time frames.
Okay, so let's thank Thomas for today's event.
And Thomas, I would like to thank you for today's event. Remember, guys, and I can assure you within a $47 investment, you're going to get a ton of education for a solid 30 days. To cancel, you simply send an email and say, the system's not for me. You don't even have to give an explanation. You simply send a simple email, I'd like to cancel my subscription, and all you do that is before your rebill 30 days later, we'll cancel, no questions asked. I can assure you $47 is a small investment based on the type of education you're going to receive, and even trading with the software for 30 days is going to make you a better trader, period, end of story. So thank you for your time and attention, and we hope to see you in future webinars, and hopefully you'll join our service. Thanks, Thomas. We appreciate your time today, and thank you for inviting us to your webinar. Goodbye, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Gary, and thank you, Trish. Okay, everyone, that's all that we have for today. Thank you for turning out. We will see you in future webinars going forward. Hopefully you found this helpful. It was a very interesting, great way of trading, in my opinion. That's all I have for you for today. So until next time, happy trading.